If you'd like, if your hay fever gets really bad, I can do something even more disgusting to blow it out the water.
Love it. I'm not squeamish for that stuff either.
Katie, you've been hosting Life Hack since it began in 2017. What's the story behind its creation and what's it been like to work on?
Oh, lovely question. So I first started out on Radio 1 hosting The Surgery, and that show has been around. I'm not sure when that show began, but quite a long time ago. I used to listen to it when I was a teenager. And it used to be on a Sunday night, then it moved to a Wednesday night. And I started by doing some cover shifts when Gemma, the usual presenter, was off, because I got in touch with Radio 1. I said, I'm really passionate about mental health. I love that show. And it was very much a phone-in show, an hour long, and we'd have a different topic. And we have a doctor there, Dr. Rada, and people would phone up and ask questions and she'd answer them. And it was lovely. Absolutely loved doing that show. And then they did a big old restructure at Radio 1, and they decided to move it to a Sunday afternoon and make it a daytime show. And the difference with that is we play a lot of music. We play as much music as every other show, because it's a Sunday afternoon and people want their music. And it also means, because it's the middle of the day, we probably don't get as serious, or there's certain subjects that we don't touch on because kids might be listening. It's a different, there are different topics. But what's great about that, and what the idea behind that was, is that we are sort of sneaking that mental health advice and sneaking that important talk into daytime radio, so that people might be listening just on a Sunday, cooking the Sunday dinner, as they often are, and we might start talking about mental health. We might start talking about Black Lives Matter. We might start talking about disabilities. We might start talking about International Women's Day, and we're spreading that message to people who maybe wouldn't tune into a show, because our fans that were tuning into The Surgery, they already know, they're great, they know all this stuff, they're very social action. So it was for us to reach a wider audience. And it's great fun to work on. I love it. It's a great mix now, I think, of lighter subjects. So we'll sort of talk about relationships and have a bit of a laugh with those things because they're a little bit lighter, but then we'll also touch on more serious subjects. We have great experts. We had a skin expert on last week talking about skin conditions, and then we have doctors, psychologists, personal trainers, lots of different experts who come on and answer questions. And then we do the chart in the last hour. So it is such a mix, that show. But for me as a radio presenter, I love that, because we do a bit of everything. I'll be laughing 1 minute and talking about something really silly, then doing something really serious, or interviewing somebody who's been through something really difficult, then doing this chart that's like fast-paced like that, and playing all the popular songs. So I love the mix of it. It is very busy, but I love it. And we get a really nice audience, mostly just people texting in who are, really great, and they contribute and they send in their stories, and it's really nice.
You have done a lot of work towards raising awareness for mental health in young people. You're currently even training to be a counsellor. What inspired you to do all that?
I think probably a few things, actually. I was always quite a deep thinker as a child. I always used to think a lot about people and how they worked, and I used to worry a lot about people, and I think I've always been very emotionally driven. I was always told I was a sensitive child. She's too sensitive, she's very sensitive, which I've now grown up to realise is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with being sensitive. And I think a few things that happened in my family life changed the way I felt about mental health. I've got relatives who have struggled with addiction, and I think I used to think very one way about that as a child and a teenager, as you often do. But then through knowing people who I'm very close with, who've been through things like that, that really changed the way I felt about addiction issues, and saw it as a mental health problem. And then I sadly lost a family member to mental health when I was about 19, 20. And that completely changed my view of that as well. And of people dying, by suicide. It completely just changed my view of mental health, I think. And I'm really sort of started that interest in why does this happen? Why do we struggle with life and we make certain decisions, or we go down certain routes, or we get really, really ill with it. So that was an interest. And then around that time, I guess I got diagnosed myself with anxiety. And when I think back now, I was such an anxious child. I always had little clammy hands. I used to be saying, I'm preaching to the choir here, but I used to say, I can't breathe properly. I've got breathing problems, to my mum, and she'd take me for tests and I was physically fine. And it was only when I was 17, 18 in a job that was happening again. I went to the doctors and they said it's panic attacks. And no one had ever before then said, this could be your mind. My mum thought I was allergic to Smarties, so stop me eating Smarties, which no one wants. So I got diagnosed myself with anxiety. And then when I was working in children's TV, you get approached by lots of charities who say, will you be an ambassador for us? And I thought about what am I passionate about? And I thought mental health and children's mental health and young people's mental health specifically, because I was meeting a lot of children and young people at that time and worrying about them, and also going through my own anxiety and then depression. So yeah, lots of reasons. I think my own experiences and friends and family's experiences, and then just working in that realm with kids. I'd meet kids and I'd think, I can tell you're really anxious, because I could see myself in them, and I'd worry about them. I'd meet these little girls and I'd think, you seem just like I was, and I worry about you.
What impact do you think music can have on young people's mental health?
Oh, massive, 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 massive. Music is everything. I've actually met one person in my life, a producer I used to work with, who said she didn't like music, and I couldn't believe it, because I've never met anyone who said, and that's fine, she doesn't like music, that's absolutely fine. But I think that's very rare. I think the majority of people do use music as a therapy when they listen to it. I have different playlists on my phone for different moods, and that's something I've always done. When you want to feel motivated and inspired, sometimes when you just want to feel sad, sometimes you want to listen to the sad songs and have a cry and feel sorry for yourself, and then sometimes on a sunny day you want the happy sunny songs. I've got workout playlists that kind of get you through those hard workouts, and driving songs. My favorite thing in the world is driving in the car and singing along. And I realized when I was really depressed that I wasn't finding joy in anything. And the one thing I realized I found joy in was being in my car on my own, driving along and listening to music. And I'd even start singing along. And that felt quite unusual, to be really depressed and be finding it hard to make conversation with people because you feel so low, but to be singing, because singing is such a happy thing to do. And it struck me, and I remember writing it down at the time in my phone and being like, this is something that you need to make sure you always do, sing in the car, because even when you're at your lowest, it makes you feel good. And we see that time and time again on our radio show. A song means so much to someone, whether that's just the music itself, whether it's the words, the lyrics in it. It can completely change your day, and we see that all the time on radio. You play a song for someone and it means something to them, and what I also love is that you can interpret lyrics. There might be a song that an artist has written and that's about their own personal issue, and actually you might hear those words in a different way, and think, oh no, I'm relating it to that. And it's just brilliant. There's nothing like when you hear a song that just speaks to you like that, and you think, oh, that's made me feel different about life, that's made me feel better about life. And also, on Radio 1, we've done lots of work about how just being creative is good for your mental health, and we've had lots of people get in touch. I don't play any instruments, I wish I could, but we've had lots of people get in touch to say that playing an instrument, writing music, performing, singing, creative hobbies and expressing ourselves in those ways are always good for our mental health, and that's been proven time and time again. I can't sing at all, but I love karaoke.
Don't lie, I watched BBC when you were on it. I've heard you.
No, they must have auto-tuned me. Honestly, that was always the joke at CBC, that I was the one that couldn't sing. But I love it anyway, Eleanor, and that's what matters, I think. It doesn't matter if you're on a piano and you're going dun 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 and it sounds terrible. It doesn't matter if you sing. That's what karaoke's for. We've got the X Factor for the good singers. Karaoke is for people who can't sing but want to anyway. And I think that's great that we've got those outlets, because it's so good for our mental health. One of the most important things, I think, music, you can't underestimate its power.
Do you have any go-to songs that you go to when you want to, I don't know, feel something? Or
my ultimate favourite song in the whole world, which always makes me feel good and I'll never get sick of, is Pulp Disco 2000. My favourite song. It reminds me of so many family parties, because we always get it on at family parties and jump around to it. That will forever. I can't wait. I get married this year. I cannot wait to dance to that song at my wedding. Like that song will always make me happy and never fail to get me sort of jumping around.
Do you have any advice for musicians, writers or artists who have lost the motivation to create during lockdown?
Yeah. I mean, I am a writer. I'm trying to write a book at the moment, and let me tell you, it's the last thing I will do. I will do anything else before I sit and write, even though I enjoy it. And I can't get my head around why that is. A part of it, I think, is fear, because you care about it. I think if you really care about writing and playing instruments and your music career, you're scared to go for it, because what if it's rubbish? The scariest thing ever in my career is showing someone something I've written, putting something I've written out there. If I write an article, put it out there on Instagram, I'm like, oh, for a while. It's very personal, isn't it? So I think that's one of the reasons we put it off. I would first of all say, take the pressure off yourself, because it's fine. There are plenty of very successful people in the music industry who I'm sure spent years dilly-dallying around, and I often find, Eleanor, like I might go months without doing anything productive, and then one day I just get that burst, and it might be because I'm sick of myself. I'm like, right, I'm sick of you procrastinating now. Or it might be that I just get a burst of energy from somewhere, and then I'll do more in that hour than I've done in all those months. But it's fine then, because you've done it. I think and they say working hard rather than hardly working, I think you can do that. You can hardly work and work hard at the same time. You can be efficient in smaller chunks of time. So take the pressure off yourself. And I would say go somewhere and do something that inspires you. So I always find that good ideas come to me when I'm on a train. There's just something about that. J.K. Rowling came up with Harry Potter on the train, didn't she? It's very common that people on planes, trains, in cars will come up with their best ideas. There's something about that. I think it's the traveling aspect, the fact that perhaps you haven't got your other chores around you, you just sit with your thoughts. So I would say do something like that, whether it's going to the beach, going to the park, going out in the countryside, or jumping on a bus or a train. Go somewhere that you think might get those creative juices flowing, but also take the pressure off. That those creative bursts will come when they need to come.
Are you ready for the bonus final question?
I am.
Okay, just to warn you, this is possibly going to be the most difficult question you will ever answer in your career. And it is so radical that you might be the only person I'm allowed to ask it to, but they can't stop me because we're here. They can cut it out.
Can't do anything.
Yeah, they can cut it out, but we'll know.
But we'll know. Oh, we're getting some big shiny glasses on for this and everything. It's in a gold envelope.
Yep.
Oh wow, I'm excited. Oh, that is so shiny. I love that.
Thank you. Ready? Secret bonus question. Quick. Your musical instrument of choice, so we'll go for the car radio, is about to be replaced by an animal. What animal do you hope it is, and how would you play it?
What an amazing question. Eleanor, I am desperate for a dog. I am so in love with dogs. I can't take you seriously with those glasses on.
Okay, I'll take them off.
I am so in love with dogs. I think I must have been a dog in a past life. I just connect with them on a spiritual level. So it'd have to be a dog, because I want a dog so badly. But I don't know how you'd play a dog. I don't know where you'd blow into. I don't know what you'd press. I don't really want to think about it. You could just rub its tummy.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It would go and make little cute noises. That's what you do. Just sort of stroke it, give a tummy rub, a little ear rub, and it would just make little cute noises. That's what I'd do. Yeah.
Yeah. It's massaged down its chest. It goes.
Yeah, that's what I've had. That's what I do. It has to be a dog because I'm just obsessed with them.
It has been a real pleasure interviewing you. And yes, thank you again very much for agreeing to come and talk to us.
It has been an absolute joy, Eleanor. Thank you so much. Thank you.